time to gather round, get all the kids in the neighborhood. Yeah! We'll sit in circles and clap our hands and clap, clap, clap. We'll jump up and down and scream. Yeah! It's the serial killer story hour, and it's live with Pete Altieri. That's the bald guy from Murder Metal Mayhem. Come on, kids, scream out! Serial killer story hour, yeah! Serial killer story hour, yeah, yeah! How about one more time with some balls, kids? Yeah. Serial killer story hour, yeah! Horns high, high, high.
Nothing like a children's song to bring in a serial killer story hour, but you know, it's Murder Metal Mayhem. How about this new Murder Metal Mayhem Christmas shirt with Santa throwing up the horns with a Murder Metal Mayhem t-shirt and his goats pulling his sleigh instead of reindeer. So definitely a nice addition to the merch page. So get yours now. I got mine on a Heather shirt just to change it up a little bit. To me, that's like a radical change in my wardrobe to go from black to heather gray. So it's kind of funny because I'm really love black clothing. So it's funny when I get something like this. It's like looks different. Like, wow, that's weird, you know. But I see Misleading Evidence is awesome shirt. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And Shelley Klein also says she's in for a scary bedtime story. This one is creepy. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this. I put in some work today, more than usual because I really enjoy this story. So I've got some additional stuff I'll share with you when we get to that point. But let's go around the table here, see who's all in the chat. We got Misleading Evidence. Here's number one in the chat, Carla Grun. Of course, Donna Lembo, the captain of the Mayhem Squad and our moderator, keeping everything in line. And Catherine S., another moderator and an old school Murder Metal Mayhem fan from as long as I started the channel. Both Donna and Catherine have been around since the beginning. So appreciate both of you ladies. And we got Karis from Voice of Astrology here. Always good to see her. And she's saying happy Thanksgiving. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And let's see. Oh, yeah, we go. Jethro Troll. Love it. Love it. Let's see. Shelley Klein. And yeah, I think that's it for right now. So we'll get more in here as the rest of them realize that they're late for class. They're late for class and they need to get their butts in the seats because I'm getting ready to start teaching my lesson on John List. I mean, talking about a weird, creepy guy. He definitely was creepy. But let's go down I got some notes here I want to make sure I go over with you. Oh, not that one. I'm going to be putting out another one of my stories that I'm going to narrate. I've already done the narration, but it's called The Last Supper. But it's not what you think. It's about a family that's very wealthy, but very, very dysfunctional. They hate each other. All of them hate each other. And but they have a rule that they have to come to the family estate once a year on Thanksgiving for dinner. And this year they show up and they're even angrier than usual. And everybody at the table wants someone else at the table to die. And it's pretty wild on who is it that they get and how they get them. But it's a wild story. And so you'll get that Last Supper. I'm going to try to have it for you tomorrow. but it's a Thanksgiving horror story. I mean, I don't know of any others. If anybody knows of one, let me know, but I am not aware, and that's why I did it, because the year before I wrote a Christmas short story called The Wreath, which is wicked. I can't wait to bring that one back for Christmas because it's definitely a good one. And so I thought, you know what? Done Halloween stories, of course. I even did the 4th of July. The Jesus tree was the 4th of July. So I've covered quite a few holidays, but I thought Thanksgiving needed it. You know, the cranberry sauce just not enough. Not enough. Need some scary stuff to go to bed with and freak yourself out on. And if you're going to go Black Friday shopping, you might as well. You're not going to sleep anyway, so you just read that, listen to me tell you that about that, and then freak out all night and then go shopping. And then you'll be dead tired, and then you'll fall asleep. All right. My wife's over there giggling because I'm being foolish. But another thing, too, I just started using a CPAP machine. I've been people driving me crazy for years, telling me I need one. I need one. Got a sleep study done years ago. No problems, or at least not enough to need a machine. And then here I went, not long ago, and they were like, what the hell, dude? I had like 49 interruptions in my sleep in an hour, and they were like, wow, that's severe. So got the CPAP. I was, like anything to improve my sleep has been horrible. And first night, 8 hours. Second night, 7.5 hours. Now, I've not slept more than 3 or 4 hours at a time. I couldn't even tell you when. So it's been like magical. And last night, my sleep was good, and my hourly interruptions was zero point 0.7. So I went from 49 to zero point 0.7. So definitely good stuff. And so I might be a little feistier now in these lives with you. So you would be watching out. I got more sleep. I'm a little more rested and might have a little more gas in the tank when we do these. So anyway, that's true. That's true story. But other than that, everything's cool. I went to another prosthetic appointment. Everything's good. I'm moving along. They increased the time they want me to wear it. So things have been going well there. All right. Well, let's get down to business here. Uh, Should business. No, we're not talking about her tonight. We already covered that. That was horrible. So the rules for the live, I'm going to be talking about, episode 15, John List. As I mentioned, John List in November of 1971, 46-year-old husband, father of three in New Jersey, murdered them all, including his elderly mother who lived upstairs. And he fled New Jersey and stayed gone for 17 years until he was captured by a TV show in 1989. It's such a great story how they got this fool. But the rest of the story is awful, like you can imagine. But the way they got him, he got they got him. He got his due. If you think of it, please drop a comment. If you're in the chat away. While I'm doing the discussion on list, usually you guys are talking amongst yourselves, and then when I get done, I'll jump out and then we can have our usual discussion about it. I do have a couple other topics associated with him that I'm going to bring up at the end. So you'll see what I'm talking about when I get to it. Thanks to the members, the Horns High Club and the Mayhem Squad. You guys are amazing. And so once I get done with the John List case, I have some stuff on family annihilators with some interesting statistics. So check this out. Did you know that a family annihilation happens once every 5 days in the U.S. since 2020? That's crazy. Okay. Wow. So I'm also going to talk about some other stats and some famous or infamous, I should say, family annihilators that we'll get into. And so you guys may know of some. You could throw them in the ring and we could discuss it. All right. And next week, I'm planning on going totally radical. We're jumping all the way across the globe to Australia, down under, and we're talking some Ivan Milat, the backpacker murderer from Australia. Really wicked dude. Assaulted, tortured, and murdered 7 young people that were backpacking through Australia. He worked in this forest or lived near this forest, and he was, yeah, he's an awful individual. And that happened between 89 and 92. And so we'll be going to Australia. We got a lot of Australian listeners to Murder Metal Mayhem, so throwing them one. And there's so many others. That was just one. David Burney was the other. I kind of toyed around with that one, David Burney and the Snowtown murders. So eventually we'll get to all of them. We'll get to all of them. All right. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up or discuss before we get started here? Anything that you want to bring up? I did see some stuff on that case involving the girl on the ship, the teen girl that disappeared off the ship, and so that's a homicide. So that probably be something we end up talking about here on the channel. So, all right, very good. And for the holidays, I'm doing some black, or is it cherry coffee? My wife's got headphones on, so she can't hear me. It's like cherry coffee in of course, my Murder Metal Mayhem travel mug here. But this is nice for the holidays, for a little cheeriness, something different. All right, so let's get to it. John List, psyched for this one. All right, so this guy is kind of like the typical. Let's look at a picture of him first before we get into it. I always forget to do that, and then I feel stupid when we get done that I didn't do that for you. So let me share this with you. Some of you may have already seen this guy, but in case you didn't, so this is what he looks like when this crime happened. So like the older one here with the Buddy Holly glasses. In the Army, we used to call those the BC glasses, the birth control glasses. This is a picture of him with his family. This would have been when they were younger, the kids, because the oldest one was a teenager. I know that. I hit all these pop-ups and stuff. But there's the wife, daughter, 2 boys, and old John. So yeah, he's kind of typical of the period, the glasses, that look, the short hair, kind of fitting with the time period. All right, let's see. So this guy is called a family annihilator, and what that means, if you're not sure what that means, I went ahead and got a good definition for you. I mean, it's kind of an obvious, name of or reason why they would call it that, but it's when somebody commits familicide, killing members of their own family. And usually it's immediate family, but it could be others too, like cousins and things like that. So awful, awful stuff. But he's born September in 1925 in Bay City, Michigan. Only child, strict German Lutheran parents. You see that a lot from that time period, and it does sometimes have negative effects on kids when you over, the religion is really super, like almost on the point of being wacky. Like, the movie Carrie, it would be an example of that, where that mother was just over the top. That kind of thing could be damaging. The father's death in 1944, strong religious upbringing. List ends up in the army during World War II as a lab tech. Can't really see that guy jumping off the ships at Normandy there and scaling the walls, but better suited in a lab. And he ends up earning a bachelor's and master's in accounting from the University of Michigan when he gets out. But then he gets recalled to the service during the Korean War. So, man, he went twice. Met and married Helen Taylor in 1951. Then he's working as an accountant, later as a bank vice president. He moves his family. This is crazy. He moves them into this like estate. I mean, it's so over what he can afford. It's not even funny, but his wife is obsessed with it. His wife really pressures him into doing it and talking about, kind of making him feel like, if you're not a man, if you can't afford this kind of thing. So that's not cool. But, he still did it. So they buy this house called Breeze Knoll. And your house is expensive when it's got like a name. I mean, I don't know anybody that's named their house other than people like this dude with rich people. But he wasn't rich. He was doing good, but he wasn't making the kind of money he could afford this. There was a beautiful that ballroom attached to the house. Beautiful ballroom with a stained glass ceiling, a skylight in it. I mean, absolutely amazing. But here he is moving in with the wife, the three kids, the mother, 19-room mansion in Westfield, New Jersey. I'm not sure exactly where Westfield is, but he's outwardly successful, but he's got all these financial problems. He's losing jobs, can't maintain the mansion with no money. His wife is, in declining health now. She had a problem with alcoholism and syphilis, which is crazy. She had syphilis, but she didn't get it treated, and then it got so much worse as she got older that it ended up killing her. And that's what Capone died of too. So that's interesting in that time period. I don't know why they wouldn't have got it treated, other than the stigma of having syphilis, I guess. But I mean, better than that than dying. But I don't know. But that's adding stress, to the situation. All these bills she's racking up, and she's drinking like crazy, and he's just trying to get a hold of it, and he's having a hard time. So he gets himself a 9 millimeter, a Steyr handgun, and a 22 revolver, and so he ends up, planning this out. This is November 3rd of 71. The first one he kills is Helen in the kitchen, just shot her right in the head, I think right between the eyes. Shot his mother, who was named Alma. I mean, how do you kill a woman named Alma? I don't know, but he did. And it was his mom. I mean, dude. Shoots his mother, and then she's too heavy for him to kill. Dude's pretty, slender. He doesn't have the ass to bring her down the stairs with the other victims. So he just leaves her up there and puts a napkin over her face. Like, I don't know what that's supposed to signify, but that's ridiculous, dude. I mean, come on. Waited for the children. Patricia, who was 16, Frederick was 13. From them to return from school, one at a time, shoots them in the kitchen, like hides behind the door, and they come in and he shoots them. And then later drives to his son John Jr.'s soccer game and brought him home and then shot him multiple times after the two struggled. So John Jr. almost was able to get the better hand of that, but unfortunately, he didn't make it. And then he puts all the bodies, other than the mother, in on a sleeping bag and drags them into the ballroom, like right in the center of the ballroom. Like really weird, okay? And then what he does, he turns there was a radio system in that room, or maybe it was in the whole house. I think it was in the whole house. It was like a, intercom system, and he's playing this religious classical type music like really loud. And he was just, like I said, he was super super still as an adult, super into his religion. All right. Now that always kills me, is like, okay, so you're super into this religion. Is your religion telling you to shoot your family one at a time and drag them into the ballroom? I mean, come on, dude. But he's got him positioned right underneath the skylight. It's real creepy. All right. And then he writes a letter to his pastor telling him, what he did, and that he did it to save their souls from damnation. He believed that they were going to be so distraught from having to get rid of the estate or the mansion and having to, live like the rest, and that they would have to maybe get welfare, and this would be just awful and embarrassing. And he was sparing them that experience. So, I mean, that's just beyond strange. Okay. Obviously not with it. And that was his reason for doing this. It's just unbelievable to even put yourself in that position of doing this. But he goes ahead and he closes all his bank accounts, canceled mail, deliveries, all that stuff, left the mansion, just locked up the doors and took off. Bodies weren't even found for like a month. So that had to be awful. And he goes and assumes a new identity as Robert Clark. He went by Bob, and he's in Denver, where he goes first. I don't know if he was still in Denver when they caught him, but he goes out to Denver at first, and he lives undetected for 17 years. Got married and everything. I mean, crazy. So this is one of those unsolved cases at this point. Nobody's never heard of whatever happened to that guy. And then America's Most Wanted comes to the table. 1989, they featured the show, or the case on the show, and they hired this former sculptor or forensic sculptor. It was Frank Bender, who created this age progressed bust of Liszt. And I showed you, let's see here, let me share that again. Excuse me. Um, the bust that this guy did. But here's what he looked like when they caught him. So that's what he looked like when they caught him. And then when you see the bust that this guy did, you wouldn't even believe it. You just wouldn't even believe it. I'm trying to find the right thing. Sorry. And then when they caught him, where is the... Oh, here it is. That was the bust that the guy did, Frank Bender. And that was incredible. I mean, the way they age. Let me see. Oh, not that one. That's frustrating, but you could see it small there, okay? And so the guy, Frank Bender, he figured he was still going to be wearing those glasses, and obviously did a really, really bang up job when you look at what he actually looked like at that time. You can see one there, and you can see here a side by side, and that's crazy how he did that many years later. So hats off to that dude. I mean, that's pretty amazing stuff. Um, and so they catch him. He was in Denver, so he stayed in Denver. Um, I don't know what Denver, why he picked it, or if it was just random, but that's where he went. But his neighbor saw the show and called him in. He was what he was a fan of the show and watched it regularly, and he was watching the show with his wife, and she was like doing something else, like a crossword puzzle or something, and not really paying attention. And he saw this piece on him and he was freaking out, but she never looked up, so she didn't hear it. And so that's how he was able to fool her up right up until the end there. But unbelievable. And so they end up arresting him in Virginia. I'm not sure what he was doing there, but June 1st of 89. He gets convicted of 5 counts of first degree murder in 1990, 5 consecutive life terms, no parole for 125 years, so obviously not going anywhere. And in interviews, apparently, he claimed financial ruin and fear of spiritual corruption that motivated him. But he died in prison. No big loss. March of 2008, he was 82 in Trenton, New Jersey, where he was in prison of pneumonia, is what he died from. So I mean, this guy was a religious fanatic and got caught up in this financial stuff. Now check this out. What's really crazy, okay, is remember I told you about the beautiful skylight in the ballroom? Later, after these murders happened, I'm not sure how much later. It wasn't until like he got caught or anything. It was much sooner than that. But they appraised the property, I guess, and found out that the skylight was a special Tiffany crystal that was like custom made for this house. So can you imagine how much that was worth? I can't remember what it was worth at that time. It was like 250,000, which in 1971, I mean that's what, $1 million maybe now. I'm not sure, but it's a lot. So if he would have known that the crystal was worth that kind of money, he could have had it taken out, sold it, and then put another one in there that was just as nice, but just not a Tiffany. He could have paid off his debts, taken care of, his sick wife and the other bills that he had, and move on, and not kill everybody. That's just what's crazy though, that he didn't know that when he bought the house, that was a Tiffany crystal. So that's that's wild. Yeah, here Voice of Astrology says priceless. Yeah, I mean it is priceless. It is. Yeah, and she says he wasn't that bright because he would have left the country. Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he would have left, gone somewhere where they wouldn't extradite him, and never appear. 17 years is a long time though to get away with it. But back then you didn't have the cameras like you do now, and DNA and all those things that we use today to solve crimes. Back then they didn't have that. So that's something. Um, so let me see here. Wanted to talk about why would somebody do this? I mean, the psychology behind the family annihilator. Um, is one every 5 days in the U.S. That's unbelievable, but that's true. The psychological profile, you're talking 94 to 95% of them are men. That makes sense, usually in their 30s or 40s. Um, got a history of domestic violence with a lot of these guys. 50 to 70% of the cases have that history, usually under some sort of financial stress. You think of, Alex Murdoch would be another one, another family annihilator. Um, and his was, financial stress. In this guy's case, in List's case, you have the unemployment issue and debt and all that, and feelings of humiliation and loss of control, that sort of thing. And then it breaks it down. The UK research shows four different types. So the self righteous, who, according to this, blames the spouse for their family breakdown. And I would definitely call List a self righteous um, annihilator, but blaming the spouse, I guess, in a way, the spouse is what created the financial problem of buying that mansion. So maybe that fits that. I'm not a professional. I just play one on TV. The disappointed, which feels the family failed expectation. So that would be another one maybe that he would fall into. Anomic, which ties family worth to economic success. So that would also be a thing. If they're losing money and they're destitute, living on welfare, they're going to be in a much lower status, according to him. And paranoid, perceives external threats, and this guy was talking about this biblical stuff and really getting a little bit over the top with that. And so maybe this guy checks all the boxes. Motivation, usually control and power. A family breakup or a divorce is a big one. I know my mom worked for a divorce attorney. My mom was a legal secretary, and they used to hear that a lot from people coming in saying they were afraid of their significant others, which is terrible. So that's the kind of some things about this I thought you'd find interesting. Frequency 227 cases since 2020, which is one every 5 days. Texas has the highest concentrations of it, and Indiana documented multiple cases in 2021 alone. Methods usually firearms in 73 to 90% of the cases. Fatalities, 64% of the perpetrators die by suicide, which is a lot of times that's their end goal. Same with the mass murderers, the school shooters and all that. They're there to do the damage, but then at the end they save one bullet for themselves, and they want to go out that way. Columbine, there's a lot of them that have done that, as we all know, unfortunately. But that would be something to keep in mind. So yeah, there is a slight incline in the recent years, but it's definitely not declining. If anything, it's just holding steady. But it is definitely family in crisis, people not mentally stable or doing some terrible things. I Googled the 5 most infamous family annihilators. Number one, John List. So he is the one most people think of. And then Chris Watts, that's another one, another piece of crap. Murdered his wife and 2 daughters. Awful. Ronald Gene Simmons, I wasn't familiar with this dude, but some 14 family members over the Christmas holidays. Wife, children, and grandchildren. My God, dude. That's awful. Stephen Supple in Iowa in 2008, a bank executive embezzling money, tried to poison his family with carbon monoxide before he shot him, or beat him. I'm sorry, beat his wife and 4 adopted children to death with a baseball bat. My God. Then drove his car into a concrete pillar to kill himself. Jeez. And then Bruce Blackman from BC up there in Canada, he was one of these, thought he was receiving like apocalyptic messages from the Bible and killed his parents and siblings and brother in law. And Ronald DeFeo, that's another one from, of course, known in the popular culture, the Amityville Horror. But that's the case that kind of prompted that house to be supposedly haunted, was the DeFeo murders. But he was a son that shot his parents and then his two brothers and two sisters. That was terrible, all in their sleep. So Jethro Troll is questioning the math. That's yeah. I mean, I did not check the math, but that's 70 a year. So what is that per day? I mean, that does that make 5 per day? Yeah, that I don't know. I don't have a calculator in front of me. I could do basic math, but without it. But offhand, I can't think of it. So I'm not sure about that. If that means that is what you're saying, that it's off. But once every 5 days, that would be 365 divided by 5, and that's 70. That's probably about right. Okay. Let's see here. What about that guy that shot his young sons in the front yard? Yeah, that's a good one to bring up. Not that it's a good case because it's absolutely horrible, but you know what I mean. An interesting one in line of what we're talking about here. And I agree. Yeah, that guy was also a family annihilator, uh, and hope he's paying for it every day in prison. That's for sure. Let's see here. Shelley Klein. I wonder what church he joined in Colorado. I believe it was a Lutheran church. Like he went to his local, whatever church it was in his neighborhood. He went there. I'm pretty sure that was the case with List, because he knew all these people at church. That's what the bunch of people that he went to church with couldn't believe that it was him. Of course, his wife was completely shocked that he had a whole wife before he met her. But it was. I believe that was the case with List, but yeah. So there you go. That's what I figured you were talking about. Very cool. All right. Anybody else on this whole family annihilator thing? You know what I was thinking? I'm weighing the possibility of doing a special Murder Metal Mayhem, like kind of a standalone, like my True Crime Deep Cuts videos, and do it on females in authority, like teachers, especially abusing students, like the rise of that and what is going on with case after case after case I see on Law and Crime and these other channels that talk about it. It's like these 30-year-old women, 40-year-old women, you know, messing with 11 and 12-year-old kids. I mean, it's very disturbing. And I'm just wondering, what the deal is with that. So here Karis is saying, List lining them up in the ballroom very formally shows important formalities and appearances were to him. Yeah, just like in church, right? So that kind of does make sense. He just, he just totally lost all control. I mean, without a doubt. Here, Shelley Klein says, I believe that house had demons in it and that got to his mind. I mean, I guess that's always possible. Some people believe in that stuff and some don't. But, that's, I'm not going to say that didn't happen. I've been, I'm interested in stuff like that, but I'm very skeptical of it. And we've done a couple of ghost hunts on Murder Metal Mayhem. And I thought they were fun and interesting and stuff, the stories and all that, but I never have had any experiences, so I can't really say, one way or another with it. But I've been with people that have and was very convinced that they did, but I just maybe just don't have the right personality to be perceiving it. I'm not sure. I just know it's never happened to me. So I know they say never, but so far I guess it's not happened to me. So Donna says it's very gross. So yeah, I'm assuming you're talking about these teachers with these kids. But the females, I mean, we've always heard about male teachers, and I know they're still the more dominant, but the Law and Crime channel is just like wall to wall with female teachers, like good looking women with like husbands and kids, and like what in the world are you thinking, like Snapchatting naked pictures of themselves to these kids. And I mean, what an idiot. I mean, over and over and over again it's like that, not even trying to hide it. Text messages, thousands of text messages in some of these cases. I mean, really, really insane, really. So, so I think, yeah, I think it might be an interesting one. I was going to try to seek out like some sort of expert on it, so to bring in a little credibility to it. My daughter might be able to. I'm not sure. I have to talk to her. She's got a master's in forensics, but she's currently a social worker that works with kids with ADD and nonverbal kids, but she's the family coordinator between the families and the school that they go to that she works for. So that's what she does. I've had her on the Murder Mill Mayhem podcast before, but I'm not sure if she knows anything about this, and if she doesn't, she might be able to point me in the right direction. But yeah, they're in the papers all the time. I mean, it's insane. I mean, it really is. Again, I know that we've heard males do it, and I don't. That doesn't surprise me. But what surprises me is these women that do it. And like I said, some of them are just like so blatant about it. They're not even trying to be obscure and hide it. They're just like flaunting it. I'm not, it's crazy. So, all right, let me see if I missed any good comments or here that anybody wanted to throw something into the ring. Catherine S. says he turned on the church music super loud, left all the lights on before he left the house and ran off. One neighbor calls for a welfare check because the music never stopped. Yeah, and the lights. I did remember that now. Yes. Really, really weird. And he talked about the cops that showed up and had to go in there. And he said the cops were freaking out because the music was freaking them out. It was so loud. And then they went in the ballroom and saw this whole crazy display and with the bodies all lined up like that. I mean, wow. That's really messed up. That's really messed up. Let's see. She says he had a daughter that got pregnant and she was sent off to a home for unwed mothers. I don't know what happened to the baby or if she was there that day that he killed his family. Interesting. So like a daughter from another marriage. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about. Um, or if they had a daughter and she was just not there. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Kimberly says, I can't believe I haven't heard of this case. That's the thing, Kimberly, with true crime. As much as you think, man, I've heard it all, you get one, it's like totally throw you. And that's why I like to do the more obscure ones, not the Ted Bundys and the Dahmers, the ones we've heard so much about. I prefer to do the ones that were more, unknown. Um, Yeah, Donna says Westfield, New Jersey, very expensive. Yeah, that's where they lived, in Westfield. And Catherine says his wife was a pill popping alcoholic. So yeah, she was taking pills, she was drinking like crazy, and this guy's trying his best. Catherine laughed at birth control glasses. So did Karis. Yeah, that's what they called them in the army. We all had to have them. I had mine. I still have them somewhere. I can't find them. I was gonna freak Jenny out and wear them, because they do look really hideous. But yeah, I couldn't find them the last time I tried to look, and it's no wonder because, like I said, my T-shirts have just gotten so out of control that that I don't know where things are, and I haven't been upstairs here in the house for like a year and a half, so it's all up there. All right. Let's see. Oh, I so you the Last Supper. You'll get that tomorrow, sometime on the channel. It's probably about an hour long, maybe a little less, just like the other ones. It was in Creation of Chaos 3. I've done 4 Creation of Chaos books with short stories in them. But if you like horror and suspense and that sort of thing, then I think you'll like the stories that I've got. The audio ones people seem to like, but they certainly don't get like Idaho 4 listens. But nothing I've been able to do since Idaho 4 has done much in the way of views. So I keep losing subscribers. I just dipped back again under 15,000. I'm like just above and below. It's like a buoy bouncing up and down. But yeah, that's it is what it is. But if I was cranking out videos every day on the Idaho 4, it'd be fine. But I don't want to do that. I'm tired of it. I tried to watch content on it, and there's very few things I can watch that interest me. It's just I've heard it so much, and I don't know how many different videos Pav is going to do that says he's solved the case, blockbuster, this or that. Not to knock on him. I mean, he does a lot of research, but it's like some of this stuff just seems like it's being dragged on and on for obvious reasons, but I'm thankful I don't need it as an income source. So I don't really care about that. All I care about is doing what I like and what you like, and trying to come to a happy medium. And doing these lives on Tuesday and doing a live, I'm going to be doing one Saturday. So if you want to listen in, I'll post a meme to that or a thumbnail for that for Saturday at 4 Central, and we'll do some just random true crime discussion. I got some good ones already. So here's one. Catherine said, I'm going to send you a link, very short Koberger video you might find interesting. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I've been trying to find something that interests me because I'd like to do a few videos just so that YouTube doesn't like kind of kick me out of the algorithm because I'm not putting out that content anymore. But I'm also still not going to, you know, do you know do what the the videos just for that reason alone, because I'd be really unhappy doing them and I think it would show. So I'd rather not do that. There are channels doing good work. I mean, Lee over there at Devil's Advocates, Jules, Lana, they're all doing good stuff. I just don't think there's enough of it for everybody to be glomming onto it, myself. But if something comes up, I'll definitely cover it and do it. But it's just a shame that anybody that does any other cases other than Idaho 4 is not getting any views. So it's too bad. There are a few. Grizzly. She could talk about water dripping from a faucet and people watch it. But good for her. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying, like, she could talk about whatever because she's got an audience. that's diverse. And I think that's part of the problem, is a lot of channels got a lot of views for the Idaho 4 stuff and people subscribing, but that's really all they wanted to know about. Instead of being more well-rounded true crime fans, like a lot of people are, I think, on this channel, you know, some aren't. You know, some are just, that's all I want is Idaho 4. So it is what it is. All right. Let's see. So I hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving, and you definitely don't want to miss next week. I'm going to be doing Ivan Milat, the backpacker murderer. It's a good one. He was an insane freak. His whole family was freaks. We'll talk about this really, really wild Australian family, and we'll do that. But you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Hope you have plenty of turkey and stuffing and all that good stuff, and you got family with you and you're able to spend some time. I'm really looking forward to seeing my grandkids and my kids and just really enjoying the day. So I'm looking forward to it myself. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Keep me over 15,000. I hate dipping down below 15,000. So subscribe if you would. And thank you guys once again. And like I said, I'll be live on Saturday. I'll send out a post that in the members or the community tab, and I'll also do the thumbnail and all that, so you'll see it. And have a good night, and I'll see you next time.
He got you fired up and thinking you earned a nice cold beer or beverage of choice. Or if the greenery is what you dig, I hope it's moist. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a word in the comments. It helps the video grow. Hell yeah, tell your friends you rode with the Meadow Man today. Spread the word like a case of the clap in a trailer park. We all know that hussy who can get the whole park stretch. And hell yeah, tell your friends you rode with Meadow May and today. Spread the word like a case of the clap in a trailer park. Like a case of clack in a trailer park.